So, thank you for giving us your valuable time to share your views on the implications of artificial intelligence on business. You have pioneered many ventures and have been the founding members of large technology companies like HCL, and you are now the chairman of Magic Software USA. You have over the years seen technology revolution that have taken place, advent of personal computing to the rise of the internet. So, sir, my first question to you is that how would you compare these current trends of AI revolution that has come in with the past technological milestones that are taking place, that have taken place already?
So I think AI is a major technology shift. It is something like the internet and what the internet did to everyone, their life. And I think AI, once it settles down and once we are able to find uh, enough people to use it and get, prompt engineering and basically get applications from AI, I think you're going to see a major change in nearly every industry that it's going to impact. And the special ones I want to mention are things like education, where learning, uh, you can do individualized learning through AI because you can have your own AI bot that helps you. And I think the other one is medical. You're going to see some big changes in the medical environment. You're already starting to see some of that. I mean, it is going to impact everything, but those are the ones that I think, because they have lagged behind in a way in this whole digital revolution, if I use that term. And I think AI is going to give them a big boost. The pandemic already changed the norms in both those industries. And I think AI coming in is going to give it a big boost in the future.
So, sir, my next question to you is to what extent do you think artificial intelligence can or should influence high level decision making in business?
So I think, like BI, business intelligence, right, artificial intelligence will give you a much more depth in terms of your business intelligence, right? Because you can do both structured and unstructured data. I can actually take video, audio, text. I can put everything in there and get an answer or get suggestions as to what to do. So you're going to see it. It will be a change. I think the problem today is, like, I don't know, you remember when the bubble came up in 99, 2000, a lot of CXOs in big companies did not know what e-commerce was, and they had to be educated. They stopped a lot of decisions because they didn't know how dramatic that change would be. Aren't you seeing the same thing with AI? A
Yes.
lot of decisions are getting stopped or delayed because people want to know what the impact of AI will be. And a lot of them don't really understand AI because it's never been something that they've been taught. Uh,
Correct.
they're now starting to get to grips with it to some extent. So I think it will make a difference. It's not going to happen overnight. And there are issues with AI. We are already talking of regulating it because there are ethical issues that are there that the governments want to try and control, although I think it should be self-controlled. That's number one. Number two, most of us are using AI from a platform, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or wherever, Meta, whatever, whoever platform we use. Now, when you use a platform, the bias of the programmer is resident in the platform. And if I take something out of there, it's my output, but that bias might show in my output. So I have to find a way of taking care of that. Otherwise, it could be very embarrassing. Plus, a lot of times, like ChatGPT is already having problems, people saying you've taken copyright material that was in the open web, you know, and obviously, how do you pay me a royalty for that? I might, when I take something from something like ChatGPT, might end up infringing on someone's copyright completely without knowing or wanting to do it. So I have to be careful. So there are issues. People should be careful using it. Yes, you want to draft a letter, you want to do something like that, that's not a problem. Use that. I know my wife does that. She drafts her communications, helps, gets ChatGPT or one of the platforms to help her do that. But we have to get a lot more technology, uh, know a lot more about it, give a lot more tools to people to make sure that they don't inadvertently get into some kind of issues that they had no intention of.
So one of the things that I would like to ask you, this is basically from the customer perspective, is that how do you think AI is transforming, the customer interaction spaces, and what opportunities do you see for business in this space?
So when you say customers, these are customers of companies using AI,
Of
or
companies, yes, yes,
okay,
yes. Customers of companies using AI, yes.
yeah, I think they'd be using AI too, and so in a way, they'd be able to do a lot more analysis of what is going on, how to do it. So today, for example, okay, so one of the things that is already happening is when I step into when I get into a M&A situation, I'm looking at a company that I'm going to acquire. They set up a data room. I go into that data room. I do some due diligence, talk to their customers, do that. Right. Today, I can actually look at all their social media, find out anyone who's made any comment on them in social media. AI can get that for me and do that analysis and let me know. Today, I look at Glassdoor. I look at a few things to try and see get a better feel of the culture and stuff of the company that I'm going to acquire. But I would love to do a lot more due diligence so that I can find out if there are any skeletons in the cupboard, so to say, so that I then build it into my strategy of whether I want to acquire them or not. And if I acquire them, how am I going to handle those skeletons? Whereas today, we find a lot of them as a surprise after we've taken over, you know. So you're going to see things like that come in and happen very quickly. Uh, a lot of due diligence will get done through AI. So the consulting companies either will have less work or they'll have to learn AI to do or have better AI products, applications to do due diligence better than I could do as a company. So I think you're going to see that. And customers are going to also have a look at when I buy something, I want to do due diligence of the company I'm buying it from, etc., etc. I will go in and do that instead of just saying a big company. I know it's the old. If you bought from IBM, you couldn't lose your job. That still exists to an extent. And IBM strategy in the earlier days was to create what we called FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Right?
True.
That still exists as a way of selling. But a lot of that will get diluted once you got AI, customers got AI and can do a lot more in-depth checking.
So as someone with a vast leadership experience, what would be your advice to business leaders about embracing AI effectively?
I think the first thing is to understand some of the basics. You don't have to be a technology. You don't have to know the technology or write the programs or whatever. But understand what it can do and what it can't do, so that your expectations are realistic, number one. Number two, then prioritize it with what you need. I mean, there are probably 100 things you want to do with AI, but you're not going to get all 100 done on day one. So prioritize what is most important for you and try and make it unique for your requirement. I've got to mention one thing, that ChatGPT has the LLM it's used is the data on the web, the public domain data. That is about 20% of the data that's available. 80% of the data is in companies. So I have to now get the platform to learn my data and then give me the answers from there, not the answers from public domain data. Right? And so that is an exercise. So I'm just saying they've got to understand these nuances. And so at a high level, CXOs should spend some time just understanding this so that they can take better decisions on what to do with AI and how to prioritize what they want. Otherwise, they'll forever be dependent on consultants who don't understand your business as well as you do. Right? They understand the domain, but my company, my culture is something I understand if I'm the CEO or a senior CXO in the company.
Correct. Correct. So my next question to you is regarding business education. As we are in the education industry, what is that one piece of advice you would give to the management students and educators about AI's role in shaping the future of business?
I think it's going to be all pervasive. So if I was running an MBA program, I would teach the basics of AI, what it does, what impact it can have, what are the negative parts of it, and teach them some prompt engineering, some basics, so that when they go out, they can ask questions more intelligently than people who are already there. And, then they become worth a lot more. It's very much like when MBS first came out and did a lot more analytics than what people in the company could do. We taught them a lot of computer type, trained them on Excel, whatever else was needed. I think you've got to do that. You don't, maybe even run a course on AI, one semester course where they understand what it is. You don't, how do I put this? When I was young, everyone was very comfortable opening a car bonnet and fooling around, fixing the fan belt, doing all sorts of things. And they were scared of opening a computer and looking at a motherboard. Okay, although technically the motherboard was so much simpler than the complicated mechanical part of a car, So it's a question of that fear. So I'm scared of opening that and looking at the motherboard. We got to take that fear away from kids who come out from programs like what Globsyn does at MBA, so that they feel comfortable working with AI rather than thinking it's like, oh, ye hua kya hai? Oh, I'm scared of this particular thing. If you can make them comfortable with AI, I think that would be really good for the kids.
Okay. So my last question to you, and this is something which I always wanted to ask you, is that regarding human values, artificial intelligence is coming. It's more a world of mechanistic, okay, and there are human values, the emotions, the empathies that are there. So how do you think this balance will take place in the future, or what are your thoughts, just genuine thoughts in terms of human values and how machine and technology and the balance for that? That's my last question to you, sir.
So AI has to have human beings behind it. Someone has to tell them what to do. Otherwise, they don't know what to do. Yes, once you tell them what to do, they can do that job a lot better than you can. But you still have to tell them what to do. So that human AI interface is always going to be, the humans have to tell a robot or a AI or whatever what to do. And then they'll do it. And they'll do it blindly, if I use that term. Yes, you can. People are talking about putting some neural intelligence and cognitive stuff. And yes, it'll happen. But you can never take away a human being, because there's no way you can predict every situation. Right? And while you read science fiction on this, computers, robots don't have emotion.
Yes.
Right? Until we find a way of making them emotive, understanding that, which is not going to happen in the short time frame. I think human beings will be absolutely essential. Yes, I can sit back and get them to do a lot of jobs for me, right? Maybe make me lazy, cook for me, do all that stuff. They can probably do that, but they can't. They're not emotional. So in a way, ultimately, I have to, as a human being, have to tell them what to do.
So the emotions needs to be programmed as well in that particular way. Okay, thank you so much, sir. It was great listening to you. It's always amazing and fascinating listening to you. Thank you so much for your time, sir.